Hey, Catalyst, hold it right there. Before you start downloading yet another productivity app or rewriting your to-do list for like the 15th time, this episode is for you. This theme has been in the air with myself, with my patients, my mentees. It's this feeling of why can't I focus? I feel overwhelmed. Maybe I'm just lazy. I need more discipline. Today, we're going to unpack the difference between discipline and capacity because they're very different, and the intersection of them is flow. And I'm going to show you exactly how to get there. So let's dig in. Welcome to The Catalyst Way, the podcast for women clinicians ready to clear the chaos and create space to flourish. I'm Dr. Lara Salyer, a former burned out family practice doctor turned mentor, author, and professional calendar whisperer. I help women in medicine reclaim time, trust their intuition, and build practices that actually fit their lives. Each week, you'll get practical tools, creative strategies, and tiny shifts that help you color outside the lines and paint a work-life masterpiece of authentic, aligned joy. As always, this episode starts with a story, and here I am scrolling through the social media world, watching some of my favorite content creators, specifically Dr. Raquel Martin, PhD. She works with the intersectionality of race, diversity through a clinical lens. She talks about, limiting self-abandonment, boundaries. You can find her on TikTok, Instagram, and I highly recommend that you follow her work because she matched this inspiration of what I've been seeing through the themes of my week with my clients, my patients, and myself. It's this feeling of being pulled in many different ways. And for those that have followed me and listened to this podcast, you know that I talk about that intersection of science meets soul, where creativity and flow can help you lead a more productive but meaningful and joyful life. And we infuse this in the podcast as well as in my mentoring and in my patient sessions. So here I am listening, and she talks about the difference between discipline and capacity. And I use some of her stuff here in this podcast, but I go even deeper. It sent me down a wonderful rabbit hole of how I can really bridge those two with flow neuroscience and give you actionable tips. If you're a practitioner listening, if you're a patient listening, this podcast is going to help you because by the end, you're going to have the ability to understand the difference and to have actionable steps on how to move through that stage. Because let's face it, the world keeps turning. Events keep happening. Life keeps lifing. And if you're like me, a sandwich generation pulled between launching adult kids and caring for ailing parents, also running a functional medicine practice, you might be feeling a little stretched thin. And we tend to really exalt the ability of discipline in our lives. Our culture is based in hustle, in productivity. And believe me, I'm a productivity gal. I love it when I get my to-do lists all checked off, but sometimes that just doesn't happen. And we need to check in with ourselves to see, am I just forcing something and I'm completely depleted, or the latter, discipline? It's easier to fix. It takes a little more grit, a little more hustle, maybe a couple Pomodoro timers set, and you can move through that. But it's important for you to know the difference between that and capacity, which is more of a nervous system energy depletion. It's the precursor to burnout, which we talk about a lot on this podcast. It's that emotional exhaustion, the feeling like you don't have that fuel to push to the finish line, and yet we still push. Quick intermission. When I was suffering burnout, I didn't need another protocol. I needed permission to be myself, which is why I wrote my book, Right Brain Rescue. It's a funny, raw, and honest take on the physician burnout epidemic, and also how creativity helped me come back to life. This is also why I love making infographics and self-paced courses, because I want to save you time and spark your creativity and help you see that healing happens when we're fully ourselves. So head to drlarasalyer.com/shop and browse the products. You might find something that can save you time, spark your creativity, and help you make your career the joy that it should be. So if you've rewritten your to-do list 12 times, and I've done that before, that's more of a discipline problem. But if you feel like your brain and body just aren't moving, you just cannot find that energy to even start that task, that might be a capacity issue. So let's start unpacking the difference between both. So let's find out what research says about discipline. Now, I have my notes here so I don't mess up. Discipline is more about that self-control, right? It is like a muscle. You can train it. You can learn hacks. Many of us have in high school, in college, in medical school. You learn quick ways to shortcut your thinking, to get things done, to stay motivated. Discipline is trainable. And research shows that if you enact small little acts of self-control, a little bit of willpower, it actually can train up that discipline muscle. So here's one study that showed childhood self-control was a better predictor of adult success than IQ or socioeconomic background. But here's the catch. Willpower is not just an infinite resource. We all know that the more we enact self-control, it feels more draining as the day goes on. That's why it's harder to resist dessert at dinner rather than a healthy breakfast. So discipline works, but it can drain you cognitively and energetically, which can lead to a lower capacity. So let's talk about capacity. Now, capacity is different. It's the fuel for your muscle. It is your nervous system's way of giving you that energy to complete whatever task is in front of you. As we talked previously, self-control can fluctuate throughout the day. But see, here's where capacity is different. It's all about, have you slept enough? Are you fueling your body? Do you feel rested? Are you currently in a toxic environment or in a draining relationship? Or are you grieving? All of these things, especially the grief part, because as we know, that's the same brainwave pattern as burnout, those cause a decrease in your capacity. Research shows it's easier to preserve capacity if you avoid triggers. Like instead of walking right past the bakery on your way home, you avoid it. All of this to say this connects deeply with functional medicine. It's all intertwined with your sleep patterns, your circadian rhythms, your exposure to nature, the ability for you to rest. It also intersects with the flow cycle because we talk about that fourth phase of the flow cycle being recovery and how deeply important that is to unplug from stimulation, to take a very big break, and that allows your brain to be primed for the next flow cycle, which ultimately can lead to higher capacity, more productivity, and better discipline. Why does this matter? Your patients, your friends, your family, we are all going to have times when we are pulled to the limits. And yet, if we keep trying to force something to happen, we might be depleting ourselves and our capacity, which could lead to burnout. And this is where flow comes into play. If you focus too much on discipline without any capacity, you will lead to burnout. If you focus too much on capacity without discipline, well, then you're just going to stagnate and not get anything done. So having a combination of skills and the ability to discern whether you're in, a low capacity mode or whether you're in a low discipline mode is just smart. So I'm going to share this infographic that I just created. It's hot off the press. It's one of my ways that I love to express my creativity is making functional medicine specific infographics that are editable with purchase. So this one is more of a high altitude view of how you can help your patients understand how to make changes and reach their goals by self-reflecting on whether they are low in discipline or low in capacity. This is available for purchase, and I'll provide the link in the show notes. But I'm going to talk you through the workflow that this infographic helps patients understand. First, let's just take a quiz. You can identify yourself right now. I'm going to read a set of descriptors, and you can determine if this means you need more discipline or you need more capacitance. Right? Discipline, remember, is that muscle. It's that muscle that helps you keep that consistent effort with the choices you're making, whereas capacitance is the fuel that helps you handle that task energetically without totally abandoning yourself, right? So, what do you think this is? Discipline issue or capacitance issue? You're procrastinating, you're rewriting your to-do list, you're avoiding tasks, and you can't focus. Kind of tricky, right? It's a discipline issue. Whereas capacity would be trying to push through, not sleeping at night, skipping your self-care, feeling dissociated. You see how that's slightly different? A low capacitance is like the precursor to burnout, where you're completely anhedonic, you can't really focus, you aren't able to see yourself in that big picture. It's a very dangerous state to be in because you're ignoring your own cues for energy management. So, with discipline, you need accountability. You need clearer goals. You can set flow triggers. You can remove those flow disruptors. You can benefit from time management tips that we do inside our mentorship or inside my patient care. And all of this helps you reduce that decision fatigue because if you're having a lack of discipline, if we help you eliminate some of these choices and decisions, you actually will thrive more. You have that energy in the tank. But if you're struggling with capacitance, you need nervous system restoration. With my patients, I often recommend the Gupta program or Annie Hopper's DNRS or Primal Trust. These are all online programs, but you can also get nervous system restoration in a whole lot of ways. Sound baths, meditation, walking in nature. There's so many ways to restore this limbic nervous system fragility, let's just call it. You also need decreased time pressure. So, do you see how, with lack of discipline, sometimes we can set a timer and that just gives us a little bit of dopamine so we can kind of cruise to get that task done if it's a low discipline issue. But if you're having a low capacitance problem and you put more time pressure, it's going to defeat the whole purpose. You're going to actually have more difficulty because you're energetically depleted. More time pressure isn't going to make you hustle faster. You don't have any fuel. Also, emotional processing support. You need that, whether it's a therapist, a friend group, your family, but you need some way of processing these undigested emotions that hang out in your nervous system, causing this low capacitance. And finally, less self-abandonment. Stop saying yes to everything, start saying no. So, which are you right now? You might be a mix of both. And in that case, then this list of 10 things that I will talk about for each set might help you. And you'll be able to pull from them whichever resonates with you today. So let's talk about things you can do to improve discipline. If you're just the run of the mill, hey, everything's going great, kids are going great in school, work is on par with what I'm hoping, things are humming along, but I really can't focus. I'm too busy. I've got lots going on. Well, here's some things that you can do to help your discipline and just get things done. Number one, break a big project in just the 3 next steps. That's it. 3 next steps. That's often something that can just snowball into being more productive than you thought you would, because we have a tendency to extrapolate the horrible idea that it's going to take 5 years to get something done, or it's going to take me all afternoon. And so by focusing with blinders on and just saying, I'm just going to complete the next 3 steps, you actually are more productive faster and will end up getting more steps done. Number 2, use the 2-minute rule. If it only is going to take you 2 minutes, just do it. Load the dishwasher, open up the mailbox, whatever it is, 2-minute rule. Just make that work for you. Number 3, set a specific and clear start date. Not like sometime I'm going to open up my practice, or maybe I'll someday reach out and get mentorship to help me finally work through this business plan and grow and scale a practice. No, set a start time. When will you do it? When will you make that decision? Number 4, use the temptation bundling trick, right? We've all talked about this with our patients. Put your workout clothes by the door, fold your laundry while listening to a CME course so you can get that opioid mandatory CME credit done. You can do all of those and be a lot more disciplined. Number 5, schedule accountability check-ins. This is why a high-touch patient care practice works really well. This is why a membership practice works well for my patients. They have so much accountability baked right in, not just with their one-on-one visits, but they have the option to pop into my bi-weekly open office hours. So they get access to me. They get that accountability. They feel like they get support. Same with mentorship. We have our weekly studio time. So everything happens in between our mentoring sessions. And that's when questions pop up. The more you use those accountability opportunities, the more successful you are. It's just human nature. Number 6, try the don't break the chain method. In other words, get a checklist of your day. I often do that in the beginning of my day. I will have the night before planned out the order of things that I think would be easiest for me to accomplish. Kind of like when you go grocery shopping. I like to write my grocery list in the order of where it is in the grocery store so I can just go once and not have to ping pong around looking for things. So I will put it in order from what I would do in the morning and then what would happen next, where would my energy best fall for the third task, etc. And I put it in a Google Task list. And then I just go down the list trying not to break the chain. It's a good motivational discipline technique. Of course, when you layer it in with other removals of flow blockers like, silencing your phone and all these other things, it really works. Next, this one I have a hard time with. Limit your multitasking by only keeping one browser tab open at a time. I know. I don't think it can be done. If it can be done, let me know. I've not been able to accomplish it. You can probably count I have 8 tabs open on my desktop, but I try to do a good job just focusing on the one. And finally, celebrate small wins. When you're having trouble with discipline, oftentimes it's rooted in that you aren't even seeing the milestones that you've accumulated, right? That's one part of the AHA method that we use in our Catalyst mentorship is anchor, highlight, activate. It's a way to retro engineer the burnout equation to keep you motivated, keep you productive. And that second step of highlighting is so important. Highlighting the small things you did as a win so that you feel like you are making progress, you are making a difference, even if it's just tying your shoes or taking your dog on a shorter walk than yesterday because the weather's bad. It's something. Keeping a list of that helps build that self-efficacy. Okay, did any of those sound familiar for you right now? If not, then maybe you're having a trouble with capacity. So let's talk about some skills to help build capacitance, right? And this is what, when people say to me, like, I don't know how you do all you do, it is a mixture of good discipline, but also at the moment, excellent capacity. There's many times in my life, especially recently, I have not had capacity. So the way you can even that out is if I don't have much capacity, I then create some more discipline support so that I can carry out the tasks, the minimum things in my list. I don't keep adding to more things that I'm involved in or patients in my panel or more mentees in my mentorship. I close down a bit. And that's one part of helping your capacitance, but that's not at all of it. What we're trying to do is help your nervous system recalibrate to whatever you have on hand because life can happen. And if your time is spent elsewhere, even with things you didn't anticipate, that lowers your capacitance. And you just have to get real with yourself. There's only so much you can do. So here are some things you can do to rebuild that capacitance. If you've been running on fumes and you feel like you're burning out and you kind of don't know how to get off track, where's the off ramp? You're going at 90 miles an hour and brakes are failing. So these things might help you. Number one, go for a slow 10-minute walk outside with no headphones. I'm serious, like nothing, just nature and your thoughts. And it will be crazy. It'll be crazy for a bit, but then just notice that your thoughts are crazy and you're letting them go. And if you're like me and you think I should have a piece of paper so I can write down all my thoughts, avoid that. Trust that if it's an important thing, you will remember it. You will remember it later. The 10 minutes of clear silence, walking out in nature, is like your own little reset button for your limbic system and your energy. It's not wasted time. It's replenishing. It's that fourth phase of the flow cycle. It's that blank canvas that needs to happen before the beautiful masterpiece can even start. Number two, take a short nap. If you're like me, I can't nap in the day, I'll do a guided meditation and I'll set a timer. So in case I do fall asleep, at least I'll wake up. But guided meditations are great to just let your brain focus on someone else's words, and it might lull you to sleep, which is hugely restorative for somebody who's suffering from low capacitance. Number three, try swapping out one scroll session for an early bedtime. It's easy to get into the revenge insomnia because you've been working all day, shuttling kids everywhere, And it feels like a treat to scroll through social media, laugh on TikTok, catch up with your friends. But what that's doing is it's more stimulation to your body and brain. And it's not giving it that message that you need to downregulate and go to rest. Now, if you're like me, sometimes I can't sleep. So I will use a guided yoga nidra session on Insight Timer, and it kind of helps that transition. So technically it is a screen, but I'm not looking at it. It's just in the background. And that's a really helpful way to bridge that transition from constant 24/7 on to blissful sleep that your body needs. Okay. Number 4, block 1 hour on your calendar as just blank space. Call it buffer time, call it free time, call it, non-time. But that's when epiphanies happen. That's when your soul starts to speak. Things bubble up that are important and meaningful to you. And again, don't worry about having a piece of paper. You'll remember it if it's important, but just allow that 1 hour of free time to be whatever it is. And please don't do dishes, don't fold laundry. Make it fun and let it be spontaneous and impromptu. Dust off those paints, draw, doodle, dance, move your body, whatever, but have it be totally unscripted. And it is essential for this capacitance because as you're protecting this time, you're sending a message to yourself that you are important. And that's ultimately what we're here to do, is take care of ourselves. Number 5, say no to one non-essential thing this week. Not everything needs your presence, your attention. What can you say no? Or even just pause till next week. Practice doing that. And again, that tells your body, your mind, your heart, your soul that you're important and you're being a good steward for this whole experience, that you're taking care of yourself. Number 6, get 5 minutes of natural light in the morning. Easier to do in the summer in Wisconsin, harder to do in the winter. I've been doing really good this summer. We'll see how the winter goes. And now, there's obviously sun lamps, there's SAD lighting. You can get some of that natural light in your eyes, but do the best you can to have your body wake up before you park it in front of a screen. This next one is one of my favorites. Move your body in between each task. Do a stretch, touch your toes, stand on a vibration plate, something that feels tangible, actionable. You're moving your body. You aren't stuck in one area for too long. And it can help move those emotions, the stress, the anger, whatever you're dealing with through your body. Number 8, eat a balanced snack, protein, fats, carbs. We all know this. As functional medicine physicians and nurse practitioners and PAs, we're all about nutrition and nourishment. Our patients, though, sometimes don't realize the importance of how good that can make them feel. So they'll reach for the easy snacks, the sugary Pop-Tarts or overly carby granola bars instead of a handful of nuts and a banana. There's so many other choices that can help diminish that drain of energy that leads to burnout. Number 9, take 1 page of paper and just free write. Dump out your emotions. Consider it like emotional dumping. And you're just putting it all out there, processing it. Do what you want with that page. Crumble it up and throw it away. Burn it. Flush it down the toilet. Put it in the garbage. Recycle it. Draw over it. Rip it into shreds. Make confetti. It doesn't matter, but you're processing these emotions. It is so critical. As Julia Cameron from The Artist's Way purports, the morning pages is an essential task that she does every day to process emotions from the night before, from the day before. And it's a great practice to do, but just limit yourself to 1. Don't feel like you have to be perfect and write for a half an hour. That's her goal. And that's a lot of difficulty for a lot of modern practitioners. It's very unattainable. So I just say write big and use 1 page of paper and do whatever you need with it to make yourself feel better. And finally, the last one, which is probably the most difficult for many of us, is ask for help with one task that you normally do alone. Now, as women in medicine, we are super independent. We are highly creative. We are motivated, and we can multitask better than anybody. And in our Catalyst studio, it's a cozy, wonderful collective of women in medicine that are doing just that. But all across the way, many of us are suffering at one point with discipline or capacity all the time. That's life. It's going to be alternating between chaos and space, flourish and then feeling fatigued. that's life. But when you now understand the difference and how discipline is a muscle that you can train, you've got clear ways that you can identify if it's a lack of discipline that you're suffering from, or if it's a capacitance issue, an energy drain. You just have no fuel. No amount of pushing or setting timers or downloading the newest AI productivity app is going to help low capacitance. You have to get serious with yourself and realize that if you only build that discipline without any capacity, you're going to be burned out. It's not going to work. And so I'm here to help. If you ever want to feel supported, have actionable steps to rebuild that capacity, or work on your discipline, or both, I'd love to hop on a brainstorming session with you. If this episode resonated with you in any way, or you'd like the infographic, I'll drop the link in the show notes. And feel free to browse any of my other products for all the functional integrative practitioners out there. I love to make your day and your week and your business work-life masterpiece the most easeful, flowy part of your life. So until next time, keep coloring outside the lines and practicing that sixth vital sign of creativity. And I'd love to hear how you improved your discipline or capacitance, and drop it below. Thanks again for listening. Thanks for listening to The Catalyst Way, where we clear the chaos and create space to flourish in medicine and life. If today's episode lit a spark in you, your next step is to go take the Catalyst Archetype quiz. It's fun, free, and freakishly accurate. Go to drlarasalyer.com/create. In less than 5 minutes, you'll uncover your burnout risk, your creative strengths, and work rhythms that energize you. Because it's not about finding a perfect plan, but rather flowing with the one that fits you. Go to drlarasalyer.com/create. And remember, teeny shifts create massive impact. So keep coloring outside those lines.